Does everyone understand English? Yes. Do you have any problem in understanding what I am saying? No. Good, very good. Do I need him, my translator? No? He is out of job from today. But before I start, let me start by thanking the rector of Grodna State University for giving me this opportunity to talk to you all. He knows, and perhaps through him you also know, that I love talking to young, vibrant brains like yours. I have been an engineer in my earlier avatar, and now I am a diplomat. But the love with science has not gone down. And that is why I decided to speak to you today about Indian philosophy and modern science. But the topic should be changed a little bit. It should have said, understanding Indian philosophy through modern science. Is that clear? Understanding Indian philosophy through modern science. Now, the first thing that comes to mind when we talk of us and science, I like to ask you to tell me, what are the important questions that science or we want to be answered? What are the questions? Does anyone have any? What are the fundamental questions that we are interested in our life? Anyone?
Maybe what's the purpose of our life?
Yes, absolutely correct. What is the purpose of our life? Why do we live? What is the second question? Any other one? What is the nature of this universe? What is the nature of this universe? Where we live? Nobody knows. The scientists also do not know what is the nature of this universe. No one knows what happens when we die. No one knows where we come from. Before birth, where were we? Forget about these questions. All of you have done science, I am told. And when we say in science, for example, mass or matter, what is the definition of mass? It is only said it is a basic property of matter. Oh, what is mass? We have never been told. The science does not have an answer. What is mass? What is charge? Electric charge. Once again, if you go back to your physics books or science books, it says charge is a basic property of matter. It does not say what is charge. Am I right? Who doesn't agree with me? We are never told in science what are these things. We are only told how these things function, how these things are working. The why part of the question is not told to us because science doesn't know about this. What is time, for example? Time is defined in physics as interval between two events. Just that. The interval between two events is called time. But what is time is not known to us. There are other questions which are different, but you will understand. Child A is born in a rich family and he lives a life of prosperity, richness. And child B is born in a very poor family and suffers the entire life. What is the fault of the child B? Why does he suffer the entire life? Who can give me the answer? Why some poor person, a child born in a poor family, suffers the entire life, while another child born in a rich family has all the things given to him on a silver platter. Without any problem, he enjoys life. Without any of his own works, he can enjoy life. The problem is, we do not have the answers. But the Indian philosophers had these answers. They knew these answers. All these questions were answered by them. But if they knew, why didn't they tell us? Why didn't they tell us if they knew? Actually, they did tell us. They told us. But we do not believe in what they say. Because when they tell us this, we say that you are making stories. You are hallucinating, you are saying something out of nothing. And there is no proof of it. We as a scientific people want proof of everything. But there is no proof of what they say. Now, what do they say? I'll give you a few examples. It says the whole world is a maya or mirage. It's not real. This is what they say. Jagat mithya in Sanskrit. Then they say, I am God. I am Brahma. You all, each one of us is God. This is what they say. Then they say, Nayanam chindanti shastrani, nayanam dahati pavaka. It says, our life is not just this one. It is a cycle of life and death. And the soul cannot be destroyed by fire or by anything. They also tell us, karmanye vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You do your job. Forget about the results. The job itself will tell you, will lead you to your final destination. These are the things Indian philosophers said. But they don't make any sense to us. They actually do not make any sense to us because we do not understand what they are saying. Problem is, it is not enough to understand these statements. It is not enough to know these answers. It is not possible just to know these answers. To know these answers, you have to realize them. You have to live in those answers. You have to understand those answers. It is not a form of knowledge that someone can give you. Nobody can give you these answers. These answers have to be realized by yourself. Only you can get these answers. And once you know these answers, you cannot tell anyone else because nobody else will believe you. Are all of you with me? Are you all understanding what I am saying? Anyone has any question at this stage? No? If you have any questions, you can ask me immediately. Don't wait till the end. But I'll go ahead for the time being. It is strange that each one of us can realize these answers. And Indian philosophers say, once you have those answers, you and God are one. You yourself become God. Because God is nothing but a complete realization of these answers. If that is the case, let us try and understand how we can reach there through science. What does science say? It says, let us make an hypothesis. And the hypothesis is, each one of us can realize these answers. But, as in science, we need an experiment to prove these hypotheses. What is the experiment that Indian philosophers suggest? Any ideas? You know all of them. All of you know them. But tell me. The answer is, you go into meditation. You meditate. And after achieving deep meditation, if you do not get the answers, then we will say that our hypothesis was wrong. Our experiment proved that our hypothesis was wrong. We are only telling you to do one experiment. Meditation, take it as an experiment and try and see you get an answer or not. Surprisingly, modern science has come very close to this realization. There is this writer, Lawrence Krauss. He has developed a theory and he has been speaking about it for the last 2-3 years all over the world, which says the universe has been born from nothing. The whole universe was a state of zero, and there was a quantum fluctuation, and the universe there will be a day when the whole quantum fluctuation will die down, universe will come to a stop, and sometime later, another quantum fluctuation will come up, and another universe will take shape. This is what his theory is. So, it actually justifies the Indian philosophers' thing that the world is a mirage. It's not real. There is other theories. I don't want to go into too much of technical detail here because I understand all of you are not from science background, but pure physics, fundamental physics. It says that all of us are made of energy and we are basically electromagnetic wave. And Einstein's theory of E equal to mc squared, if you write it along with the Planck's equation, which says energy equal to h nu, where nu is the wavelength of an electromagnetic wave. So basically, the moment you have an electromagnetic wave, it is an energy, and the energy is equivalent to mass. Whatever we see, whether this, or this, actually, whatever thing has a mass is made of electromagnetic wave. And this is what Indian philosophy says. All of us are pure energy, souls. The soul is nothing but pure energy. So what I am trying to say that Indian modern science has come very close to the Indian philosophical thought. The difference is the modern scientists are convinced that the answers of these questions are only in this three-dimensional world. However, Indian philosophers believe that it is not possible to answer these questions within this three-dimensional world. There is something beyond this three-dimensional world. What are these things which are beyond three-dimensional world? Our thoughts, our dreams, our emotions, and there are many more things which are not understandable in our three-dimensional world. You know, before I move, I'd like to show you a little film. In 1884, there was a book written, satirical book written, called Flatland. It's Flatland. Flatland. And in 2007, a film was made on Flatland. I'm going to show you parts of this film, and you will realize, just try to match, when you see the film, try to match with whatever I said till now about three-dimensional world and the need to have another dimension. The story is that the whole world is only in two dimensions. The whole world is a flat land, only two dimensions. And one day suddenly somebody from the third dimension comes. What happens then? This is the whole film. Yes, the film is about 1 hour 35 minutes, but I'll show you only clips, 2 minutes each, 2 3 minutes each. Start the film. The film is called Flatland. Flatland.
You ready for your first sight recognition lesson?
The beginning as to how the Flatlanders, the people in the Flatland, are acting.
What do you see when you look at me?
A square.
Is that what you really see? Go.
The father is teaching his son in the Flatland. The children need sight recognition lessons.
Look closer.
I see, like, shadings.
That's the ether, the fog. It dims the light.
They're the Flatlanders.
It's everywhere, so to children and the uneducated, it's nowhere, invisible. That's why they have to feel their way around, touching people in order to figure out who or what they are.
Feelers are Sticksville.
That's right, that's right. Now, suppose two individuals are approaching. A triangle and a pentagon. Which is which? No touching. If that were a real triangle, you could hurt yourself on a sharp angle.
Why can't I just walk around it? That way I could see the shading easier.
That's not done in polite company. Sometimes when there are a lot of people, you can wiggle back and forth to triangulate, but you don't want to go all the way around someone.
They see only edges because the Flatlanders can only see one side.
But how do I do it?
Infer the shape through the shading. See?
Hey, Square! How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Is my brother in?
I can't do it! Am I stupid? I must be a feeler.
Sight recognition isn't easy, I know, but it'll come to you.
Your brother is here!
We'll continue the lesson.
This is the flat, his house.
I can't run a fire! We're gonna get him! Yes, not enough!
These are your children?
No, you did? Yes, I did! No, you didn't! Yes, I did! No, you didn't!
Now, move on to 40.10 minutes. Now, you see, a sphere has come. Into this flat land world, a three-dimensional body has come. And listen to this.
He's just a little confused!
3 to the third power has an obvious meaning.
Just pause it. His son had asked him, what is a cube? When you write something cube, what is a cube? But the flatlander doesn't know about a cube. And this three-dimensional figure tells him a cube is defined as such, you know.
No, a line. It's a circle.
I'm no demon. You were right the third time. In a sense, I am a circle. A circle more perfect than any seen in Flatland.
Sir, forgive us, but how did you change your circumference? No circle I've heard of can do that. And how did you get in here?
By in here, do you mean Flatland?
Flatland? You know, a woman I met yesterday called the world Flatland.
Did she? Good for her. Madam, I have a message to deliver to your husband. If you wouldn't mind, I would...
Are you really a circle? I mean a priest? I mean a message for my husband from a priest?
Okay.
I am perfection. I am a sphere. CEO of Messiah.
What? Where did you come from?
From space.
Aren't you already in space?
What do you know of space?
Space is length and width.
No, there's a third dimension of length, width, and height.
Please, your circular lordship, what direction is this third dimension?
Up, down.
North and south?
Nothing of the kind. A direction in which you cannot look, because you have no eye in your side.
I have an eye. It's on my northwest side.
In order to see in space, you need an eye, not on your outside, but on your inside.
It says that in order to see yourself, or in order to see the third dimension, you need to have an eye, not on your side, but on your inside. It's a very profound statement. In our world, the Indian philosophers say that if you want to understand this whole world, you have to have something called a third eye. No, you have to have an eye to listen, to see your inside. Indian philosophers have said. And this is what is being said here in a more plain fashion.
Looking
And
up
I am
or
myself.
down.
Please, sir, this is New Year's Eve. There were horrible riots yesterday. My only brother may be dead. I have family obligations. Really, this is just no time for jokes.
I didn't come to joke. I'm from the land of 3 dimensions. 3D. I looked down and saw the plane on which you live. I can see into your churches, your ministries, your banks, your houses, even your insides and stomachs. Everything open and exposed to my view.
He says, I can see everything. This two-dimensional person cannot see beyond the edge or beyond the wall. But because the third-dimensional person is from top, he can see everything. He says, I can see your palace, I can see your other room, I can see your children, I can see your brother who is doing something. He can see everything because he is in another dimension. And this is exactly what the Indian philosophers have been saying. If you move into meditative state, then the whole thing becomes clear to you. What is this world? Where does it start? How does it end? What happens before we are born? What happens when we die? Everything becomes clear because you are not in this universe. You are beyond this universe in a different dimension.
I saw your 5 sons fighting each other with rubber swords, and your other son, the hexagonal one, was sulking off in his room. Likes to color himself. How do you think I knew that?
We have a name for people like you.
Yes?
Perverts! There are laws, sir! There
I
are
am
laws!
what I say I am.
You must have drilled through the walls! Holes!
Holes? What holes? I tell you, I came from 3-dimensional
You could have filled them back in!
Difficult little creature!
I'm not
Holes?
difficult. I'm a lawyer!
Let's start over. When you see your wife, what do you see?
Yeah. Okay. Now, the 3-dimensional person, because he is in the 2 dimension, he is as a circle. But because he can move up and down, the circumference can change. Now he comes up completely and he becomes invisible to the 2-dimensional world. This is what you will see.
Look, the king of Lineland saw you not as a square, but a point. It's the same for me in Flatland. You're seeing only a slice of me. Watch, I'm going to rise up and down in space. Watch. See? Up, down. Up, down. And now I'm going to rise out of your world altogether.
Where did you go? Where are you?
Here.
Am I still dreaming?
Convinced?
No, it's a chromatist trick!
Idiot! It's no trick. I thought I was
Or
dealing
you're
with
a
an
spy
adult.
from the Northern Kingdom! I know it!
Politics? I hate politics.
Stop. Move to 50. Yeah. More. Yeah.
Banging against its side.
I told them to stay inside!
Now I'm going far, far up. Buildings.
He says, I can see everything. He goes up on the 3rd dimension. And he says that I can see too many things. What he did, this one had hidden a gem in one of his rooms and locked it. So the person went up, the 3-dimensional person came up, picked up the thing from his room and put it in front of him. So he says, this is a trick. This cannot happen. In 2 dimensions, things cannot move like this from one place to another. And this is exactly what happens in our world. The Indian mystics show you many tricks, and it looks like tricks. But it is possible. This is what I am saying. I am just trying to say that if you see from this eye, then it is possible. Okay, move to 1.30. Move a little further. I think the timing is completely different. Yeah, just wait. The person now. The A square has been taken into 3 dimensions. And now he says, oh, I can see everything. Yeah, how? Let it come, let it be behind. Let it behind. Yeah. Let it move behind. Yeah. Let it move behind. Yeah. That's. He's taken into the 3rd dimension. From his flat land, he's taken into the 3rd dimension, and now he can see everything, the 3-dimension world. And now listen.
What have you done to me? Lifted you out of Flatland into reality. Steady. There. Can you stand? Rest on your bottom hairs for a moment.
What is this pressure? It's pushing me southward. My south hairs hurt.
Oh, that. You'll get used to that. That's just gravity. Something we all have to contend with.
This is a 2-dimensional fellow.
Don't worry about.
Now that I see you, all of you, you're so perfect. Your circularity is beyond circularity. Everywhere you're circular and divine and perfect. A divine ideal of loveliness and wisdom.
Feel free to worship me at any time. But first, let's take a look at where you've been.
Look, a flatlander.
He's able to see his flat land.
I see!
I take it that my experiment worked. I hope my ends will justify my means. Care to see yourself?
Myself? How can I see myself? I'm inside of myself.
In 3D, you can have reflections. Light can bounce off an object which you can use to see yourself.
He's shown his own reflection in a mirror.
Me?
No, it's your reflection.
He is able to see the whole of inside of himself in a three-dimensional world. Stop. And finally, he comes back to his own flatland. Oh, move ahead. And my record is 1:30:45. You have to move all the way to somewhere there. He comes to the flatland and he tries to explain to people that, you see, I have gone to the third dimension. There is something called the third dimension. And once you go to the third dimension, you can see everything. You can learn everything about our flatland. But nobody believes him. Because, and people say that you are telling lies, you will be convicted and you will be put in jail. Because you are spreading rumors. His own brother doesn't agree with him. Go a little further. Little more, little more, little more, little more, little more. Yes. This is he's talking to his brother. Okay.
And then I should have remembered all of the words, but I was distracted and beside myself. I was sick, but listen, B, there's another dimension. There's a third dimension, and I'm here to spread the word. What? Are you mad? You're a monster! You're gonna get us all killed! What are you? Die! Die!
Nobody believes. Stop. Now, this is the film. And the interesting point of this film is something which is in the middle, which I want to show you just to show you what happens when somebody's eyes are open. Come to one, come back to this one. Yes, that's the point. A little further, little down, below. Before. Okay. Okay. Let it play. Little more ahead. 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 Yes. He says to the three-dimensional fellow that if I can see inside of myself, you had shown me by going to the third dimension, why can't you go to the fourth dimension and see what is inside you? You go to the fourth dimension and see what is inside you. Then the three-dimensional fellow says, are you mad? It is not possible. He had shown the two-dimensional fellow the third dimension. But when the two-dimensional fellow tells him that if you have shown me the third dimension, there should be a fourth dimension. And if you go to the fourth dimension, you can see inside yourself. But the three-dimensional fellow says, no, it is impossible. You are mad. Nothing has happened like this. Do you get the message? That is I'm talking about. There is another dimension possible. And when you go to that dimension, everything about this dimension will be clear to you. Just like in this film. And this is what exactly Indian philosophers have been telling you and telling all of us. It is possible to do this. But nobody else can tell you. If you go to another dimension and you get this knowledge, you come down to the earth, you tell everyone, nobody will believe you. Everyone has to go to that dimension. And the Indian philosophy says that it is possible for each of us to go in that dimension and then see the entire world from a different eye. And the way to do that is meditation. Nobody can tell you. Nobody can teach you. Even if he teaches you and you understand, understanding is not enough. You have to live. You have to realize that fifth dimension, the higher dimension. Now, what I'm going to tell you now is very surprising. Because modern science actually gave us the science of the fifth dimension. The scientists did not believe in it. So the scientists did not believe that this is the fifth dimension. They did not believe that it is the fifth dimension. In 1923, Albert Einstein gave the theory of general theory of relativity. And as you know, general theory of relativity says that space-time continuum curves under the effect of gravity. The space-time, the four-dimensional thing, curves under the effect of gravity. Is everyone aware of this? Yes? Now, let me give you another example. A line, straight line, will remain straight line till the time it curves. And the moment it curves in a two-dimensional flat. So the moment a one-dimensional unit curves, a two-dimensional body is generated. A two-dimensional body, a surface, will remain in two-dimension till the time it curves. And where does it curve? It curves in the third dimension. The moment a dimensional thing curves, it curves in a higher dimension. So, when Einstein says that the space-time, the four-dimensional thing curves, where does it curve into? Where does it curve into? Fifth dimension. Does anyone have any objection to this? When a four-dimensional space-time curves, which Einstein says it does, from the science, where does it curve into? It curves into the fifth dimension. Correct? Who has an objection to this? Nothing can be more clearer than this, that the modern science itself tells us about the existence of the fifth dimension. But what is the nature of this curve? What is the nature of this curve? And that answer is given when you try to understand from the three-dimensional world into four-dimensional world, which is about time. How does a three-dimensional body curve with time? A child becomes big. You develop wrinkles as you grow old. You die. These are the curvature of the third and fourth dimension. It is so different from a normal curve. A curve of a line or curve of a this. It is so different in the third to fourth dimension. So, the nature of curve from the fourth dimension to the fifth dimension will be something completely different. Completely different. And we cannot fathom it. We cannot understand it. We only can realize it. We can live it. Okay? Clear? The fourth to fifth dimension curve, curvature of the fifth dimension, curvature of the fourth dimension, which leads to the fifth, can be completely weird. And it has to be weird because that will explain about your dreams, your wishes. In the fifth dimension, Indian philosophers and saints who have gone into the fifth dimension, they can wish for it. They wish for anything. You wish and it will come. You can dream and it will become true. Those are the kinds of curvature we are talking of. It is completely different from this three-dimensional world. Another example of the existence of the fifth dimension. Scientists today, the most modern scientists and astrophysicists say that they have found that the entire universe, the visible amount of matter and energy is very small compared to what it should be. It says that the visible amount of mass and energy in this universe is only 4% of the entire mass and energy that should exist in the universe. Where is the missing mass? What has happened to the missing mass and energy? We call it, the scientists call it negative mass and negative energy. It doesn't really matter what name you tell us. But where is this missing mass and missing energy? Once again, it can be realized if you understand the film, the flat land. Suppose in the flat land, you see this projection. And according to the science of the flat land, it should weigh 2 kg. But scientists found that it weighs 200 kg. What is the explanation? The only explanation is, it is actually a two-dimensional projection of something in the third dimension. Just as the sphere was cutting across flat land and only a circle was visible, the missing mass and energy are basically projection of the fifth dimension entity onto our fourth or third dimension. The very existence of missing mass and energy explains that there is an existence of a fifth dimension or a higher dimension. My allotted time of 45 minutes is over. If you want me to continue, I'll explain to you a little bit more about Indian philosophy and how it is explained. But if you want me to stop here, I will stop here and I'll ask you to raise questions. Do you want me to continue?
Have you seen a 5D film?
Yes, I have seen 5D film. But that 5D film is actually a technical jargon rather than a 5D, actual 5D. What happens in a 5D film? All of you must have seen a 5D film. Yeah? What do they call as a 5D? Care to understand? What is a 5D in the 5D film?
Events
Yes.
happen to you just like in real life, you feel them, and you can see them just like in front of you.
You can interact with them.
Yes.
That interaction is named as the fifth dimension in our sense. But I'm talking of a different 5D, which you understand, don't you? Yeah? Okay. Do you want me to continue? Or you want me to stop? You have become completely bored. Yeah? Okay. Then I will only explain one more thing. How does Indian philosophy explain the question that I raised in the beginning, that a child is born in a poor family and suffers the entire life, and another child is born in a rich family and he enjoys life throughout? What is the explanation? I do not know which religion all of you follow or what philosophy you follow, but either in your religion or in your philosophy, is there any explanation of this? How do you explain that somebody is born poor?
Perhaps because of their previous life.
Exactly, but now you are talking of Indian philosophy. Because only Indian philosophy speaks of previous life. And this is what I am trying to tell you. What happens in this, the answer to this question is what we call in the Indian philosophy laws of karma. Laws of karma and laws of debt. The karma is actually act. Whatever you act, it has a repercussion. Just like Newton's third law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Newton's third law. Same thing happens with you, with us. Whatever we do, there is a reaction to that. If I do something good to you or to you, that goodness has to come back to me sometime. If I am bad to you, that bad action will be again reacted to me. I will face the consequence of my bad action. This is the law of karma. Whatever act you do, karma you do, it has to come back to you. Just like Newton's third law. And the funny thing is that whatever you do in this life may not come back to you in this life only. There is a debt, and it can continue from life to life, because you are not only living in one life. You live life after life based on what karmas have you done, what acts have you done. Because every act which has not been repaid in this life remains in your debt, and it has to be paid in the subsequent lives. So, if a child is born poor, it means that in his previous lives he has collected a lot of bad karma, and he is repaying his debts. And if a child is born rich, it means he has collected a lot of good karma. But the thing doesn't stop here. A child born in a poor family can do good things, can become important people. Many of our presidents were born in extremely poor families. Extremely poor families. But they rose and they became the president of India. How come? That again is explained by the laws of karma. The person has done some good things and some bad karmas in his previous lives, so he is facing the results of all his karmas. Bad karmas as poor birth, good karmas as good results, and vice versa. So, and a rich person, you must have seen many rich people who are very arrogant. They kill people, they do car accidents and don't bother about laws and things like that. Many rich people do not know that what they are enjoying is because of their previous life's good karma. And if they do not continue to do good karmas, they are spoiling their future lives. And in their next life, they will face consequences of their bad actions of this life. That is the essence of Indian philosophy. If you understand this, there is nothing more to understand. Rest is rituals and this and that. Nothing is of consequence. This is the essence of Indian philosophy. Okay? I will stop here.